Hey, welcome guys, welcome to this overview video for my plugin one-click asset manager. Let's do everything in one click. In this video, I'll try my best to walk you through what this plugin can do and the features it has as quick as I can, and try my best to keep the video as short as possible. Or if you prefer reading in this plugin after you imported it in the content folder of it, you can find a built-in documentation that I wrote for you. It's an editor widget, just right mouse button click and run it. And here pretty much it has everything that I'm going to talk about in this video. So if you prefer reading, you can do this. Also, if you think I'm talking too slow later in the video, you can always bump up the video play speed or jump to the certain sections of the features, as I will mark them so for you to jump around. And with all of that out of the way, let's get started. Now, the first type of action you can do with this plugin is to actors. For example, the chairs inside of my scene. And to call the features to use the functions, you can simply just right mouse button click the chair and go to scripting actor actions. The first thing you can do is actor batch selection. If you are familiar with Blender, you can pretty much guess what this function is doing. So basically it allows you to select multiple actors at the same time. For example, I can select all actors with same material. Once I click it, and right away you can see it says successfully selected 99 actors. This method works for static meshes that either have the same material or they have the same master material. So even though they are using different material instances, as long as those material instances have the same master material, this selection method will work. And also, you can select all actors with similar name. So you can see that it's called SM_chair. And if I click this, and it will ask you whether or not you want case sensitive or not. So in this case, I do want it. Click OK. And you'll get pretty much the same result. So it's pretty much up to you about how you want to go about this. Alright, next thing that you can do with batch selection is deselect or select specific actors by name. You may find this useful when you are working from a different viewpoint. For example, from the top view, if I select all of these stuff, and basically I only want the chairs, but I don't want the walls here. So you can do that by right mouse button click, go to deselect specific actor by name, and I happen to know that these walls are called SM_cube, and type in OK. So it says successfully deselected 4 actors, and go back to perspective. You can see these walls are no longer selected, and of course other stuff are still selected. So you can be really creative about this, and hopefully this can save you time in selecting actors that you want. And the next thing I want to talk about is duplicating static mesh. Now the usage of this is quite straightforward. I'm going to delete all of my chairs now. I'm going to select all of them and hit delete. Now my scene is completely empty. And I'm going to show you how to recreate it within 20 seconds. So go to my folder, drag in a chair like this. So first, I want my chair to duplicate itself along the x-axis. So I can go to scripting actor actions and duplicate static mesh. And it will ask you for the axis for duplication. I will choose x-axis and the number of duplications, probably 8. The distance between each chair, 300 is fine in this case, and click OK. Now I have 8 chairs. Now I can duplicate all these 8 chairs together along the y-axis. So by selecting all of them, right mouse button click and go to duplicate static mesh. This time I will choose y-axis. I want it to duplicate 10 times and click OK. Right away, you can see I have this many chairs in my scene. And the good thing about this method is you still have individual control over each single chair, as each one of them is an isolated static mesh. So you can still rotate them, you can still scale them, and I believe this method is much better than the ones that we used to use in either construction script or other stuff for procedurally generated things. And after this method, right away you can see we have an issue, is that these actors, they don't have a name yet in the world outliner. They are all called static mesh actor. And we can batch rename all of these chairs all at once by one click. So go to scripting actor actions, batch rename selecting actors. And it will ask you for the prefix. Yeah, I want SM. Main actor name, I'm gonna call it chair. Suffix 1 is fine to start with, and click sorry, I haven't selected all the chairs. So I'm gonna select all the chairs first. So select all actors with the same material, and then go to batch rename selecting actors, type in chair, and click OK. Now you can see all the chairs have been renamed to the names that I want with the prefix and suffix. Hopefully this can save you a lot of time. And the last thing you can do with this is move all the actors to an outliner folder. So basically you click it and choose the folders that you want these actors to move. For example, I want it to move to my chairs, and click OK. Now right away they are all moved to my chairs. And I'm pretty sure that you can notice that we have one problem with our scene, is that these chairs, they are all too uniform. Maybe this is something you want, but if it's not, I have a solution for you to quickly offer these chairs variation. So go to the content folder of this plugin and go to BP Editor Widget. Right mouse button click to run it. And you will have this interface for you to do actions with. So the first button is called Randomize SM Transform. So basically with this, you can quickly offer randomization to all of the selected static meshes. I'm just gonna show you. So I'm gonna right mouse button click, select all actors with similar name, and when I'm done selection, maybe I want to offer them variation in rotation. So I'm gonna take this and just click this button. Now you can see all these chairs have been rotated for me. And maybe I want to have variation under scale as well. I can do that. I can change the range. Maybe I want it to between, say, 80% to 1.2, and click the button. Now you can see all those chairs have been rotated and scaled. And same goes for randomized position. You can quickly offer these chairs position offsets and click the button. Now you can see they don't look so uniform by now. You may find this very useful when you are keep bashing in creating a scene, and oftentimes when we are using a single static mesh everywhere in our scene, we need to rotate it, we need to scale it. With this button, you can just do it in one click. Hopefully this can help to save your time. And next thing in this widget you can do is organize the word outliner. So basically by click it, it will organize all the stuff in it for you to move to the specific folders. If the folder doesn't exist, it will create it for you. So for example, static mesh actor, I want it to move to static meshes folders. Skylights, I want it to move to lights folders. So have fun with this. Go ahead and try it. From here, All the actions are towards the assets in our projects. By saying assets, I mean the stuff that live inside of our content browser and not in the level. So these are the assets. The first action you can do is setting texture parameters. This can allow you to change the settings for textures within one click. To quickly show you, here I have a folder with random textures that I imported somewhere else. And to set all of the textures, first you need to specify where these textures are located. In my case, they are located inside of this test textures folders. So I'm gonna copy paste the name and paste it in here. So this is my root folder. And my subfolder, but I don't have any subfolders here. If you do, you can keep going on. You can copy and paste in your first subfolder name, your second subfolder name, and you can go as specific as you want to find the textures. Or you know that you want to change all the textures inside of that folder, including all of the subfolders. You can just take look subfolder texture and it will automatically search all of the subfolders for you. But what names to search? Well, you also need to specify what names do you want this to search. Now, for example, I only want to change the textures with the name brick, and I'm gonna delete all of the names first and type in brick. And down below are the settings that you can set in textures. For example, do you want to set as RGB? This can be quite useful for masks. In this example, maybe I want it to be true. I want to set RGB, my compression settings. I want to set a, let's try something crazy here. Yeah, I think masks is fine. And set texture size, I want it to be 256. And flipped off their green channels. And then I'm gonna click the button. Now right away you can see the textures with the name brick has been set for me, with the size set to the size I want and with the green channel flipped. So hopefully this can save you a lot of time when you are setting textures, especially when you have like 100 textures. You can do all of the settings within one click. The next thing that you can do with this widget is you can delete the empty folders by the path that you specified. So to quickly show you, I'm gonna go to my test deleting folders, and under this folder you can see I have this one, and these two empty folders. So by specifying the path is called test deleting. And I don't want to specify any subfolders path. I want it to search all of the subfolders for me. And then I'm gonna click delete empty folders. As you can see, all those empty folders are gone. It says successfully deleted 2 files. So this can be useful when you have a big folder and under there are many subfolders, but you don't know how many of them are empty. Just click this button specifying the path and it will delete all the empty folders for you. And the next feature is delete unused assets under folder. So just like the name said, it will automatically delete all the unused assets for you by the folder path that you specified. Now the idea of unused assets, meaning that these assets are not referenced anywhere else in your project. It's not used in the level, it's not used by a material, say if it's a texture. So this button, it will quickly find all of the unused assets for you and delete them if that's what you want. For example, in my blueprint folder under test deleting, I have all of these assets and I have these 5 blueprints. I marked them as unused. So I'm gonna drag them all into my scene. So you can see they are in my scene now. And I'm going to click file to save all. So the project knows that they are in use. Now, by specifying the path would be test deleting. And in this case, I want it to only go into the blueprint folder. So I'm going to specify the subfolder path, blueprint. And it will be asking you if you want to delete right now. If you tick this, these assets will be deleted right away. If you don't tick this, these assets will be moved to a trash bin folder under your content browser, and it will automatically create the folder for you. So in this case, I want to delete all of the assets, and watch this. Now you can see it says deleting 11 files, and these files, they remain untouched, but those blueprints that are not used are automatically deleted. And the next feature about this is you can move all the used assets to folder. Say you have like 100 files under this folder, but you only want to move those used assets out. You can do that as well. So in this folder, I'm gonna create some blueprint classes and click Save All. So now you know that these 5 cubes are used, these 2 blueprints are not. And I can simply move them out by specifying the path that I want the plugin to search, the subfolder that I want it to search, and I need to also specify the path that I want to move. So in this case, I have a folder for moving. It's called test moving. So I'm gonna just to paste it inside of this. And if you have subfolders, you can going on by typing like my folder and going on, just like that. So, but in this case, I only want it to move to my test moving folders. And it will be asking you, do you want to create subfolders for moved assets? If you tick this and click the button, those used assets will be moved inside of this folder, and it will automatically create a subfolder based on their class names. So these are all blueprints, so they will be under the blueprint folder. If you don't want this feature, just don't take this, and it will just move all the assets in here, all the used assets. And the last thing that you can do with this plugin is by right mouse button click the assets under your content browser. So to right mouse button click, you can find these scripted asset actions. So remember, assets, they live in your content browser and not in the level. Those ones in the levels, they are actors. So scripted asset actions, the first one is create material or material instance. Now with this function, you can quickly create materials or material instances based on these textures that you selected. So here I have some random textures that I created in Substance Painter. I'm going to select all of them. So you can see they are base color, metallic, normal, and roughness. And select all of them. Go to create material. Choose create material based on selected texture. And click it. First, it will ask you, do you want to use the name from texture? And I'm going to take yes, so I don't need to type in the name for the material. Or if you take no, you need to specify what names do you want the material to be. And are those textures channel packed? And these ones, they are not. So I'm not going to do anything here. Do you want to create a material instance after the material creation? Yes, I do. And click OK. Right away, you can see there are 2 assets being created. First one is the material. So these textures will be automatically plugged into the correct socket with a material instance created based on it. So hopefully this can save you a lot of time when you have like 50 sets of textures and you don't need to plug any one of them one by one. And what if your textures are channel packed? Well, I got you covered for that as well. In here, I have 3 textures that I created in Substance Painter, and as you can see, they are channel packed textures. The method is, I call it the ORM method. So if you don't know what channel packing is, basically it packs different textures inside of one single texture to save you some space and to save you some performance. Now with these three selected, I'm going to go to create material and create material based on selected textures. So this time I'm going to type in the name myself. I'm going to type channel packed. And channel packing type, I'm going to select this ORM method. Yes, I want to create a material instance and click OK. With the material created, and it will automatically unpack the channel pack texture for you, plugging into the correct socket. So ORM is short for ambient occlusion in red channel, roughness in green channel, metallic in blue channel. With the texture being set to the correct types, masks, and it will set the textures to masks for you as well. Because by default, when you import them, Unreal will set them to default. And with this method, it will set it to masks automatically for you. Now, this can be extremely useful, say if you have like 10 sets of these, instead of plugging them into the correct socket one by one and unpack them by yourself. You can just do this within one click with material and material instance created for you. And the next thing you can do with this is you can create material instance directly from the master material. So for example, here I'm going to select my base color, my normal, my roughness texture, and go to scripting asset actions, go to create material instance from master material. It will ask you what type of master material to create from. So right now it only supports the default master material from Bridge. So the default Megascan master material. In the future, I do plan on adding the customization for users to customize what kind of master material that you are using. Same with the channel packing type, so stay tuned for that. And in here, I want to use the name from texture. No, actually I do not, because they will be the same with these two. So I'm going to type in master material and click OK. Now right away you can see a material instance is created for me, and it's referencing the default master material inside of Unreal. So with this, I can use all the settings built in for me. I can adjust the tint, I can adjust the strength of roughness and everything that comes with this master material. Now you must be wondering, can I use this with any type of texture that I have? Well, there are limitations, and the limitations are for naming conventions. So go to the content folder of this plugin and choose this supported texture naming requirements, run it. You can see that I put in some texts for you to read. These are the requirements for your textures if you want the automation to work. So as long as your textures for base color has these words, of roughness has these words, your ORM method packed texture has these words, the automation will work. But remember, your original texture names must not have space, because in that case, Unreal wouldn't be able to recognize them and nor the plugin. So if your original texture names have some space, this method just won't work. Alright, the next thing that you can do with right mouse button click an asset is adding prefix. Now, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to quickly create a material in here. So as you can see, it doesn't have a material. So I'm gonna right mouse button click and add prefixes. So it will add the m underscore for you. And this works with other types of classes as well. For example, blueprint. If you choose this add prefixes, it will add the BP for you. I'm gonna delete it right now. And same with material instance. If you create a material instance, so by default, Unreal will add an inst at the end for you, which is quite annoying. So you can just right mouse button click and select Add Prefixes. So it will fix the naming convention for you by removing the inst and adding mi. So currently it supports, I would say, most classes that you use inside of Unreal, but of course not every type of asset that is supported. And the good thing about this is you can select multiple assets and click Add Prefixes, and this can save you a lot of time in naming those stuff. The next thing you can do with this plugin is quickly duplicating assets. I kind of left it there for testing purposes because I can't think of a real world case scenario of using it, but you can try it if you want. So you can just select duplicate assets, specifying 10, click save right now, and it will duplicate the assets 10 times for you. I can select all of them and select add prefixes, and all the BPs will be added for me with the message displayed. Now with asset right mouse button click, there is also a function for moving assets to folder and for removing unused assets. So moving assets folder, I can select all of these 10 blueprints and choose move assets to folder. And it will be asking you to what folders do you want it to move these assets. In this case, I want it to move to test deleting. Do I want to create subfolders? No. So I'm gonna click OK. And you can see it will tell you which file is moved to what folder. And go to that folder, you can see all these files are here. And I'm going to click Save All. Now, after saving, say I'm going to use some of these assets. So I'm going to select just random 3 of them, drag them into my scene, and click Save All. And of course, now it's empty because there's nothing in it. And I can select all of these assets, right mouse button click, go to Scripting Asset Actions, remove unused assets. So it will search among all those assets that you selected and remove the unused ones for you. So I'm going to select it, and yes, I want to delete right now. And I can also print use asset names. So if there are any assets that are used among these assets that you selected, it will print the names out, and click OK. Now you can see blueprint 8 is used, 5 is used, and new blueprint is used by 1 Pakced. So that means there is one place that is referencing these 3 blueprints, which is my level, and the other ones that are not used are deleted right away. Hey, thanks for staying with me. Up until this point, I think you have a pretty good idea about what this plugin can do. And there's still some stuff that I like to talk about at the very end. So you must be wondering, can I use this to clean up my project? Say I open it and I click this button and it will clean up all the folders for me. Well, technically it can, and I've designed it that way so to make sure all of the deletion is safe. But also I've put in some extra guards for you to only do so when you are absolutely sure about what you're going to do. Because by processing that amount of data, say you have like thousands of assets in your content browser, that might just freeze the editor and there's no turning back from it. It's not like at the middle of deletion you can click an abort button and it will just cancel it. It will not. So just be careful if you want to do that. And how to do that? Well, you simply just type in nothing for the folder path and just click delete. And right away you can see a message that I type in there for you. So it says detected, you type in nothing for searching, which will lead to search the entire content folder. And this could cause unexpected behavior. You can do so by setting the limit to override. So here, you need to set this to override limit and take look subfolder for unused assets, then click this, and then it will go through all of the subfolders for you. And pretty much for every one of these functions, I've put in some comments for you. So for example, this one, I put it there to prevent you from searching the entire content folder, because I don't want you to freeze your editor and cause some data loss. So if you are absolutely sure you want to do this, you can, but make sure you back up your project first. So the same goes for delete empty folder and move use assets to folder. If you want to search the entire content folder, just type in nothing and click the button. And after you've passed these security checks, you can do that. But again, make sure you back up your file first, your project first. And that will be all for this video. I hope you are enjoying the plugin, and I hope this can improve your work efficiency significantly. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.